Spike Jonze directed it, and it's coming to Apple TV Plus. I keep forgetting about Apple TV Plus. I have in the back of my mind, there's a couple shows on there that I do want to watch. I just keep forgetting that it's there.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that one yet. I haven't heard anything that makes me want to get it.
There's a show on there called Servant that's supposed to be beyond bananas, and I'd kind of like to watch that.
Speaking of bananas and documentaries, I watched the Aaron Hernandez, the whole series last night.
Me too.
Boy, I got a lot of angry email from people about...
Angry?
Because we were talking about Aaron Hernandez yesterday, and all these people were hitting me up. They're like, he had CTE.
That doesn't make you kill people.
Well, but it F's with your brain, and I understand what they mean. You're right. It doesn't make you kill people. Usually it makes you kill yourself.
Does it make you gay?
I thought it people said that's where like depression and things like that came from.
It has all kinds of things to do with it. I don't know.
Not that there's no link between murder and depression.
I know. But people were hitting me up over that, and I was like, well...
But it doesn't justify what he did.
No, I don't know what to tell you.
He also did these murders with like very little motivation. Like, he wanted to kill people.
Oh, but he's just so hot.
I gotta say, I don't really know that. I don't know the full story on that. Like, he killed a couple of his friends, right?
Well, he killed one friend. It was his
girlfriend's
fiance's sister's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He killed him.
Guy. Yeah.
And then he also killed... two guys in a nightclub because one spilled a drink on him, I think, or something like that. And that was like, that can't be the motive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were like, that can't be the motive. That's too weak of a motive. And then so they tried to crowdsource other reasons why he would have killed them. And they really were kind of stuck on the drink thing, other than that they might know his secret of like his sexuality or something like that.
He might be gay.
And so they were
not that he was gay.
Yeah, they were like, we're not going to out him during the trial because that's in poor taste. I'm like, oh my God, it's a double murder?
Good pun. They studied the donated brains. Sandy told me they studied the donated brains of 111 former NFL players, and 110 of them had CTE. Mm-hmm. And one of those was Aaron Hernandez's brain. They said that his brain was very diseased.
Yeah, especially for how young he was. He had a lot.
Was he 28? How old was he?
Yeah, I think
27 when he died.
27.
So hold on,
and like he was only in the NFL for like 4 years. So like there was maybe 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah, but then think about the training though.
Well, the training in the college and high school.
He was with the Patriots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He played a full season while he was under investigation for the double murder.
But he's so hot.
So it's like this CT, and I know I'm sorry that I sound ignorant or whatever, but I don't know about it. It deteriorates your brain?
Well, it causes your brain to...
It's a degenerative disease.
Like to break down, basically. Yeah. Like your brain tissue hardens and then basically can't...
You didn't see
that scar tissue.
You didn't see the Will Smith movie where he was the Nigerian doctor? Tell the truth!
No, I did not.
The doctor who discovered this in Pittsburgh, he was...
Dementia, aggression, depression, suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Yeah.
And so, you keep bashing your head into other people. And they have Junior Seau. A lot of these guys who commit suicide, they cut their brains open and they're like, yeah, guy had CTE.
Oh, man.
But I didn't know. See, I thought he was just one of those jailhouse gays. Like, I thought he had a gay lover because there was no women to access. I didn't know he was like hiding him being in the closet his entire life.
He was on the low.
Oh, that makes it even hotter.
And one of the things that they did really well.
Oh, it's just so bad.
Shut up for a second.
You would have been.
For a second.
Because it's actually the way they do it. I mean, Poundcake is like, oh, it's so hot, blah blah blah. But there is people.
Too much pound cake.
There's people in this documentary that like there's a guy that had a relationship with him, and then his dad is there, and he knew Aaron really well, and his dad was one of those macho guys that's like, oh, if you're gay, you know, it's disgusting, very homophobic. And then his son coming out to him, which was very difficult for his son, really opened his eyes to the situation, and he gives these very heartfelt explanations about how he dealt with that and how he was able to not only accept his son, but help his son make up for those times that were in his past where he felt like he couldn't have a relationship with his dad and couldn't be himself and stuff like that. So there's moments like that in the documentary, and then there's a former NFL player that comes out, and he talks about like being overweight.
Comes out, or he's on the documentary?
He's on the documentary, and he comes out after he retires from football.
Oh, you mean comes out?
Yeah.
And he talks about being, he was trying to make himself more unattractive by being overweight. Like, he's a big lineman, and he was trying to. He says football is his beard, and he's talking about his sexuality and how tough it was for him to come to terms with it. And he tells his story about coming out, and it's very insightful into how toxic our culture is against people that in sports especially.
Yeah.
Homosexuals no longer hide in shadows, giving secret signals of recognition to each other. But rather they have joined together into groups or clubs in an attempt to seek freedom and acceptability for their type of sexual inclination.
And so they're not
like that.
They're like, oh, he was secretly gay. It's so hot. They're actually very heartfelt in their stories.
No, but like the first thing the guy said, the one that had the relationship with Aaron, he was like, "Oh, I was just one notch on his belt. He was with a lot of guys throughout his years.
With a lot of people, yeah."
I was just like, "Oh, he was just on the low, all tatted and mean." He comes in repressed.
Practices sodomy from the day of this message.
How is that?
Will get cancer in the butthole.
So that repression.
Yeah, he just had a long day of practice. Coach was just beating up on him, and now he just,
because
stops on over.
You can identify with that. These were the people that you were quietly coveting when you were younger. Is that what it is?
I was so stupid. Yeah, these stupid guys that if you tell anyone, I'll kill you. I promise. I'm like,
so
man,
you're enacting your own trauma.
I promise
through this.
I'll kill you.
If I had $1 for every time, I'm not even gonna say it. But yeah,
yeah,
no.
but that's why it's so attractive to you, is because you're kind of using this to reenact situations that you've been through in your life.
I guess, but he's attractive. If he was ugly, and I would be like, ew, lock him up. Like, I'm glad he's dead. But like Aaron Hernandez, like Alan says, it's really unfortunate when good-looking people do bad things, get locked up for life, or then
die.
It's always sadder when somebody hot dies.
Yeah, because even in the documentary, he's like walking into the courtroom, and one of the girls was like, "Oh my God, he's so attractive." And his lawyer was like,
the lawyer's even saying, like, we need more women on the jury.
We need more women and or men on the DL, on the jury. Because that would be me. I'm like, I need to recuse myself.
Say again.
Recuse myself. Because I was like,
it's an interesting documentary. And it's a really sad situation. Because he just, between the brain damage and his repression because of his sexuality and him not being able to feel like he could be himself, he had to build himself up into this tough gangster, because he's from Connecticut. He's from Bristol. He's not a gangster. He put himself into the situation to try and cover up for himself.
And I can relate to that, because I did stupid things to, like...
How many people you kill?
I didn't kill anybody, but all my tattoos were under the age of 18, like trying to be all hood and thug.
Yeah.
Like, now I got these. Now, I don't regret my tattoos, but it just shows it's from a time in my life where I was covering up for some stuff. And that's...
Didn't Chris Benoit have CT? I feel like that was one of the first cases. Chris Benoit, this wrestler, who killed his wife and his kid and then killed himself like a decade ago. And I feel like that was one of the first times I ever heard about CTE.
They also interview this former player that he retired real young from the NFL because he was worried about CTE. He was just like, I don't want the brain trauma. He's hearing these stories, the Junior Seau story. All the, studies are coming out about CTE, and he's like, it's not worth it to me anymore. I want to be able to live a healthy life, and I don't want to go through what they're going through. So he retires after like 2 seasons.
Are there competing, like the Fire Festival, are there competing Aaron Hernandez documentaries?
Not that I know of.
I didn't know that. Because
there's one on Netflix, and somebody else said there's one on Hulu, too.
Oh.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know about the Hulu
I mean,
one.
it's a salacious enough story where you think there might be a couple of different...
angles.
I just feel bad for his baby's mom, because like I said, if you're already battling some stuff,
he's got a kid.
Don't bring a woman and her child into it, and it's his daughter, so now she has to grow up with hearing all this stuff about her dad. So that's unfortunate.
Alan, somebody needs to F Poundcake immediately. He is pent up.
How do they know I haven't been F'd? You don't know my life.
Well,
you can be getting it on the reg and still look at someone.
I'm just a horny guy. I'm horny all the time.
You're going to poke my eye out over here. I mean, okay, well, I hope that you are. That's good.
Yeah, I can lay whatever I want. Screw you.
I think they're just concerned about your well-being. That's all. They want to make sure.
Of.
All right.
Well-oiled.
Sir or madam, whoever texted me, he is, and I quote, Well oiled.
There just ain't no Aaron Hernandez is walking around here.
I gotcha. Yeah, there's no meatheads walking around.
Oh, there's plenty of meatheads, just none that look like Aaron Hernandez.
I just don't see where that guy's that great looking. Aaron he just looked like a garden variety mook to me.
Nah.
All right. I'll take your word for it. I mean,
especially in our community, he's the type of ones that you walk into.
But there's plenty of guys that look like that are, bald and jacked up.
But he's butch. Like, he looks
doesn't
me.
do it for me.
He looks me. He looks like if you talk to him, he'll punch you in the face.
That's what I mean. There's plenty of gay dudes who look like that. That's why I was surprised that other than being a rich professional athlete, I can't imagine the guy would stand out otherwise.
Nah.
Really? Hey, Joe.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man?
You guys brought up DDR earlier, and I have a hilarious story about that because I was in a 6-week independent living program for blind people in the summer of 2007.
You're blind?
So, I'm not blind, but I'm close to it.
Close. You're legally blind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in a similar situation as Darnell, but obviously he's in a much worse spot.
He's in a much darker place, if you will. Yeah.
Yes.
Dance Revolution is DDR for the uninitiated, yeah.
So we were there for 6 weeks. We lived there, did everything that you could possibly imagine for 6 weeks, and we did anything we could to kill time. And one of the things that they wanted us to do is they wanted to teach us to play DDR.
Okay.
And it was great for some of us and not so great for others.
Right.
In terms of, learning how to do it. So it was just hilarious to watch, a bunch of blind kids learn how to play DDR.
Yeah, how do you even do that?
Now, how was this instrumental in blind rehab or whatever? I mean, how? I don't get.
This was downtime at the end of the day.
Oh, I see.
We lived there for 6 weeks. We had to kill time. We lived there and the whole time. They have a whole residence center and the whole nine.
So this was recreational.
Yeah.
I see. Not therapeutical.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the curriculum, or this wasn't part of the mission statement.
Joe's like, I gotta go, guys. I'm late for DDR 101. I gotta get to class. Right.
Right.
Yeah, how would they do that? Like, how would you play DDR? Would they put like a tack down on the one you're not supposed to step on?
It's a series of tacks. Ow, ow, ow.
It's like whack-a-mole. The tacks
I really
come
suck
up.
at this game. Ow.
They would just say step right, step left, step back, step forward.
Oh, they narrate it to you. I see. Yeah. And how did you do? Were you good?
I was better than most because, like I said, my vision is better than some of the others. There were people there that were completely blind.
Oh, I see.
I'm visually impaired. Like, I can't drive a car, but I can still see.
So you had an advantage because yours was more like a heavy squint.
Right.
Yeah. All right, good. Well, congratulations. You've played the game way more than I have, which is 0. So good for you.
Right,
Thank you, Joe. All right, there's Joe, legally blind and out there killing it.
Legally Blind's the follow-up to Legally Blonde. He goes to law school. That's my favorite thing is when you don't acknowledge it and just turn up music. I love that.
All right. Yeah! Legally blind.
I
Yeah.
wonder if there's like a hierarchy within that community where if you can see a little bit, like Joe is like the king.
I was going to say a prince.
Of all that. Yeah.
Oh,
like
no, but I think it's the other way. I think that you are.
They
don't like you. Yes,
They're
because
like,
you're not
you're a
fully
real
blind.
peeper over there. You've been able to see things.
Mr. Legally Blind over. The law had to get involved with Joe.
Beat it, Magoo.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think. It's like people who are. I think there's a lot of strata in the disabled community.
I don't need a piece of paper to tell me I'm blind.
Right. Alan, didn't Joe say it was a hilarious story? I just don't see it. Right.
Blind people playing DDR is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the tax.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, the series of tacks, that's interesting to me. if that's how they did it. But I don't, it was narrated to them.
Cane tapper, that's what they don't like to be called.
Cane tapper, yeah.
Cane tappers.
Well, red and white canes. They don't care for that. They're driving and they're dragging it along the driver's side.
At a night at Stand and Deliver, someone yelled out, because Blind James was there, and so we were doing jokes about blind people, and he said cane tapper is what they...
slur?
That's the slur, yeah.
This is here, I trust people with glasses, don't you? It's like, well, ask him. He's got glasses. But if you're wearing your glasses like this, get away from him. Did you ever take directions from someone that looks like this? Where you gotta go? 44th Street. Well, why don't we take my spaceship? Yeah, I have to pick up Santa Claus anyway.
Jim Gaffigan from 20 years ago is so skinny, and he's still got some hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's from his Comedy Central special, right?
It is.
The 30-minute special. Premium.
That's right.
No, it's Comedy Central Presents. And he's in front of like a cornfield.
See a thing. I am absolutely blind without these. It's probably why I wear them. You ever notice when people are thinking in movies, they're always chewing on the end of their glasses? If we give the alien a cold. You know what they're really thinking? This tastes like wax.
It's funny how many commercials people had heard Jim Gaffigan in before they knew him as a stand-up comedian, even though he'd been doing it for a long time. Just in radio. I remember before, really, and Gaffigan, he's from Indiana.
Meant, like his most recent KFC commercials. I was like, there's no way.
No. Back in the day, he was the Wendy's and Rolling Rock guy.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, around this time, 2000.
And he did like New York State Lottery commercials too. He did a bunch.
Good for him.
Did a lot.
He had this pilot that he used to do, that he used to have on his website, where it was like kind of like the Stand and Deliver premise, where he would get one topic and then he have to write as many jokes as he could about it. So he locked himself, like for the pilot it was room service. So he just keeps ordering room service in this New York hotel.
Like getting material?
And like getting material from it. And then he goes on and writes this great set about it. It was really hilarious, but never became a show.
That's so hard to do.
Somebody texted dance, low resolution. It's pretty good, too. All right, listen. I've got a break. I'm going to put somebody at the Incarceration Festival on the way back. They got another great lineup this summer. I think it's the third year for this. Limp Bizkit, Weezer, Blink-182, and Mastodon and Papa Roach, and many, many, many more in July out in Mansfield. So I got 3-day weekend passes for you. You want to check out the full lineup, you go to incarceration.com. 35192, text me for anything there, or alancoxshow.com.
It's the